there's so many ways to attack today's sale, what took place, what happened, what didn't happen. I didn't give anybody a video, a top 10 list or anything like that, because to send that video out, so many people see those videos. It's hard. It's hard to do them. So I just left it alone, right? Anybody that emailed me, I told you who my top 3 were. Before I looked at the horses in person, I can tell you the numbers. Number 90 was the Dublin Valley horse. I forget what his name is now. Number 90, number 15, and number 40 were my 3 top picks. Now, when I was done...
Number 90, that was on my list.
Yeah, that was my top pick of the whole sale before I looked at the horse in person. And I didn't dislike the horse. I bid on the horse. I just didn't love him that much. He was no longer my number 1. In fact, when I was done looking at all the horses yesterday, he went from my number 1 pre-sale horse to off my list completely, to like 11th or 12th. That means I still was going to bid on him. I just found 10 horses I like better. Now, I alluded to this story in my last video that Amy giggled and laughed and made fun of me for doing it. Now, the story is quite simple. I bid on a lot of horses. I'm very familiar with the procedure. I'm very familiar with how it operates. And as they're trying to draw bids out of you, it's the sneakiest profession on earth, by the way, is the bid spotter and the auctioneer. What's that?
Slow down.
Well, I'm speeding a little bit, you're right. It is the... Probably should slow down a little bit, honey, because that would could have attacked it like that. I've been to a lot... What? Are you done talking? I've been to a lot of sales, and I know exactly what I'm doing. So, I am trying to acquire all our horses as cheap as I can. It's not always easy. We had a long list of horses still. It was so nice. I got to sit down at dinner last night with Steve and Jim and Randy, his father Robert. Marcia dropped by. We all talked about what we liked, what we didn't like, and we all gave our top 10 lists. Now, Marcia came along a little bit later. I didn't know she was staying in Scioto, so I apologize, Marcia, for that. But Steve, Jim, Randy, Bob, we all talked about our top 10 lists. Now, the filly that dominated the majority of our top 10 list, especially knowing the backstory, was hip number 155. Extra Flirty? Is that her name? Extra Flirty? Now, nice filly. Really nice filly. Body type was nice. She was what the hell. Everybody loved everything about her. Here's the hiccup. In the second dam was a mare named Shaquina, I think, right? Shaquina. Didn't show anything special. Credit winner mare, 134,000 made. But what wasn't showing on that pedigree page was that she was the mother of one of the best horses in the world right now. What's his name again? Do you remember? Zetti. Francesco Zetti, right? Francesco Zetti. 2 million made, a mark of 150 in Europe. The mother was in the second dam of hip 155. Now, obviously, it was so weird because one of our clients from Europe emailed me to tell me this. I made note of it. I went and looked at the filly. Sure enough, when I went to look at the filly at Hickory Lane Farms, Kevin Greenfield was there, and he too, as you can imagine, knew the story. Couldn't wait to tell me. I said, any chance you just keep that under your hat? No. So everybody that went to look at her now knew the story. So we were leery. All good blood, nice filly, everything to like about her as a racehorse, all check marks. But then you had this enormous residual value as a broodmare. She was all of our top picks. So I'm going to separate the sale into 2 parts. This portion of my day, which kind of frustrated me for quite a while. It didn't ruin my day because we had a tremendous day, but it did bother me. I'm bidding. I get in at 35 or 40. This is going to be our top horse. I'm going to 70. And quite frankly, I could have went to 85 or 90 and just taken her out of the bucket because Robert, Randy, Steve, Jim, John, everybody there would have been very, very interested in this filly. So I get in 35, 40, 45. I'm out. I'm in and out a little bit. So we get to 50. It slows a bit. 52, 55, 57, 60. Somebody bid 65. I bid 67, 70. Now, I don't want to allude to the fact that I'm going to go much higher. Because not only are you bidding against people, you're also, in some cases, playing against the house. And if you have ever been to a sale, you know what I'm talking about. John is there. He's taking everything in. Everybody's watching me bid on this horse. And just as I go 2, I wasn't late. Just as I went 2, as I've been doing for the past, what felt like forever, but was realistically 45 seconds of bidding, the hammer goes down, which it never does. They were a good 2 Mississippis, quick to the draw. There was no rush. This filly was at $70,000. You weren't trying to get an $8,000 bid. They dropped the hammer. I was mad. And you got to understand, I see all these bid spotters at every sale. We probably bid on 20% of that sale today. And most sales. So I was miffed, and he knew it. He said it was because he doesn't have the gavel, the auctioneer does. The auctioneer is supposed to turn to him and say, "Is your guy out?" He never did. Never asked him anything. They were 2 Mississippis quick. Dropped the hammer, and I lost the horse. I turn around. I am fuming. I look at the guy like he's a ways away. He can't hear me. I look at him. What was that? He looks at me and goes, he's pointing to the auctioneer. He's trying to blame him. It's not really his fault, but these guys do this for a living. That shouldn't happen. Cost the breeder at least 15 because I might have went to 85. Helped out the other buyer, so now I'm boiling over. But I don't want to look like a little kid, so I walk outside. As I walk outside, Randy looks at me and John's like, "What was that?" I said, "You saw it. Saw what he did." He goes, "Well, why'd he do that?" It wasn't personal. If there's a friend to any sales company, it's definitely me in this industry. So I walk outside and around the corner. I'm angry. Now I want to know about the horse. Maybe there's an off chance that it's just a guy and I can offer them $5,000 more or $6,000 more. Who knows? Maybe I actually save money. Walk into the room, waiting for the ticket to come back. Girl walks up. She shows me the ticket. Joyce McClellan. I know the name. I can't place her. I don't know if I've ever met her. I'm sure she doesn't watch these videos. If I have, I apologize. I know the name very well. I know I see it. We breed a lot of horses. Have the horses with Virgil Morgan, I believe. So it's Virgil Morgan. Small breeder, obviously sharp person with an extremely sharp trainer. There is no indication that they were going to stop at 70. Nor do I believe they would. As soon as I saw the name, I'm like, "Thank you very much." I give them back. So there's just a smidgen of solace because I know I wasn't getting the horse. That's the way it was. All that happened was Joyce McClellan saved $12,000 or $15,000 on hip number 155, thanks to the sales company. Anyway, every ounce of that is completely true. So there's no saying, "Well, no, not 100% correct." So that ruined my day, but didn't ruin my day. It ruined my day for maybe 45 minutes. I was just angry. I just felt we had such a good thing going all day. I still bought my number 2, my number 3, my number 4, and my number 5 horses in the whole sale. Of my top 10 list, I got 4 of the top 5 purchased. Didn't get that number 1. Now that leads to an interesting issue. I'm going to ask it to everybody. We had a great conversation. We went to dinner again tonight on the way home. Randy and Bob couldn't make it. John was there. He was the leader of the table, taking the notes. He did a great job. Great ideas. Amy had some. Everybody had an idea of what we should do, because now we have all the horses. What do the buckets look like? I originally, well, this Pay very close attention. I originally, now I guess you had to been following along the sale to understand this, and I think if I just go through the horses now, it's going to ruin everything. So I'm just going to put it to you this way. My number 2 pick in the wholesale was Tennessee Tom's sister. Many of you, your number 1 pick was Tennessee Tom's sister, Aunt Sarah. Beautiful filly. Now, I looked Ronnie Burke right in the eye last night, leaving dinner. I said, listen, none of my business, but I'm going to ask you, are you buying Tennessee Tom's sister? If you are, there's no point in me bidding. He said, nope. I'm going to tell you something. I don't like the mother. I bought the horse because he was just that good. I had the mother and I don't like her. And I'm not buying her daughter. Okay, cool. Now she's in play. There was only a few horses that could fit our top bucket. 155 was the first one. In my mind, the second one, even though she was small, no, the third one. The second one was Aunt Sarah. That was her name, right? Aunt Sarah? Yeah, Aunt Sarah. The Katie's Lucky Lady's sister was in the top 3 or 4, but again, she was small. I don't care if she's small. Small horses win races too. Half your stake races are on a half-mile track. I'm not really worried if she's small. 206 was one I loved also. Went for 100 plus. And then I was the underbidder. No one knew this. We all went outside to get something to eat and drink, and I walked back in to make sure I didn't miss a horse. And when I did, Swingtown's sister was going through. Full sister to Swingtown by down by the seaside. And who she was, I saw her on the... We just assumed she'd go for $1 billion. The bidding slows at 70. I see people slowing down. 60, 65, 70. I'm looking over where Burke's crew is. I don't see them bidding. I got nothing to lose. 72. I get in at 72. Somebody went 75. But it was slow. Like, I might get her. I mean, this is impossible. There's no possible way this would happen. You have Which Way to the Beach, Captain Barboza. Oh, and by the way, the favorite in the Metro on Saturday, probably one of the nicest 2-year-olds I've seen in a long time in Swingtown, is her full brother. And she is lagging at 72. Now it's 75. Looks at me, 77, 80, 85, 87, 90, 95, 97. Somebody else was 97. I was 100, right on. Way over any bucket. But I can't not buy this filly for that. I see across the hall now who I'm bidding against. It's Diamond Creek Farms, Adam Bowden. Bye-bye, filly. 105. We could have bid till 8 o'clock at night. She was going to Diamond Creek. It's just, you can't outbid those people. All I did was cost him. I apologize because I saw the gentleman that owned down by the seaside. I see him at all the sales. Super nice guy. He looked at me and he said, about one. I said, but hip 96. I said, 96? And he goes, I know. We saw you. I said, yeah. He goes, I figure you cost me $28,000. I said, yeah, you're 100% right because I get in at 72. And you got her for 100 or 105. So whatever it was, he figured 28,000. He's right. So, I mean, it's one of these things I can't apologize. I was trying to buy a filly that should have been extremely unattainable. That was almost very attainable. Close second. So back to the horses. 2 good stories, by the way, in case you're wondering. Really good stories.
Talk about any of the ones you bought or just the ones you didn't?
Are you done? We're still a good 12 miles from the house. So what I originally thought I would do is, what was that head shake for?
You were hit that car.
I certainly was not. What I originally thought I would do, for those of you who are watching, you'll understand what, Steve, yeah. You'll understand what. I was originally just going to put Aunt Sarah and the Katie's, what's her name? Michelle or Megan, the Megan filly. I was going to put them in the top bucket. Called them the premier horse. Everybody was going to get a $15,000 credit because that was $55,000. Those were two fillies. Either one of them, I could see them making up the premier horse, and we were going to get them both and under budget and a credit for the top bucket. But at last, the 1 year I put two horses in that premier horse bucket, I did get some flack from people saying I wanted in on one horse, not two, which is 100% correct and fair. So I didn't really know what to do. Now, three of the horses we bought today, the Hutchinson Harness crew, Bob and Randy, they picked those horses out. There's Steve. They picked those horses out. I was going to drag them outside the buckets. Whatever shares they wanted, fine. Put them up on the site for everybody else to buy. That left us with 9, which was 5 and 4 or 6 and 3. However we chopped it up. But mathematically, it just didn't work that well. So I guess my first question to you is, if you are an owner of the top bucket, would you rather wait for Lexington? Because I can go to Lexington. There's, what did Steve say? 91 horses?
We have 50 of them are Pacers.
You're right. There was 90 plus Ohio breds in Lexington. 50 plus of them were Pacers. So 30, let's say 37 of them were trotters. I looked through a number of them last night. They are premier bucket horses. Now, therein lies the question to you. Would you rather wait a couple of weeks and go to Lexington and grab a premier horse down there, or would you rather put those two fillies in the top bucket and have a refund or a credit? No, we're not refunding any money. Credit. It's a very fair question, and I'm torn on it, and I'm your partner on it, so I'm going to abstain from the voting, from anything, and it almost has to be unanimous. If there's one person out there that says, I'd rather you go to Kentucky, then we're going to Kentucky. It's only fair. I tried, guys. 155 was our top horse. I couldn't get her. My next top horse went for $15,000, and I can't tell you why, and we'll get to her in just 1 second. It seems like you're agitated. So, now you know the premise of this video. I'm going to rewind and tell you how it all took place. Are you done? I will throw you out of this car. Number 14. Steve and I got there. We were a little bit late getting there. There was no rush.
It took 18 minutes for you to talk about
two great stories and to set the stage of what is about to be told. My goodness, relax. So we were in no rush to get there. Our first horse was number 4. John was going to bid on it. He chickened out and didn't, for the most part. We decided, we set a number, and it just didn't work. We didn't get number 4. Not a big deal. We got the one we wanted anyway on the pacing side, so it worked out perfect. Our first horse it wasn't our first horse. Randy and his father picked out number 14, which was so cool because this is Lauren's horse's brother. This is Emerald Chip's brother. Nice video, nice horse. I said to Randy, we're going in. I said, Randy, well, what do you think he's worth? We're talking the night before. He said, I had him priced $24,000 to $27,000. I said, I think you can probably get 2 of him for that. He said, no, great video, good looking horse. I said, Emerald Chip's the top of and Emerald Chip made $300,000. I'm not making fun of him. But,
like 12.
Yeah, it was like the 11th full. There was a lot of reasons. I said, I would be shocked if we don't get the horse for 12. We got him for 14, almost had him for 8. And I'm going to tell you what, they were 4 Mississippi slower dropping the hammer on that horse than they were dropping the hammer on our top horse. I'm still a little angry about it. I know I couldn't get the filly. I just would have liked to have the chance to try. So I am still a little bitter over it. 14, I thought, pretty easy purchase at $14,000, and obviously Randy and his dad are going to keep a big chunk of that horse. We may just drag that horse outside the buckets and put it on the site. There are going to be some horses just go up for sale on the site. There's going to be some shares or a few shares here or there. We're just going to separate them from the buckets. Because the one thing I was told by every one of you virtually, Anthony, I don't want like 7 horses in a bucket, which is fair. Because it isn't about the cost. It's about the training bill, right? It's about the cost after. I'm well aware of that. I know. I get it. So I wasn't going to put 7 in. I want to put 6 in, which I thought was maybe even one more than you needed. But hear me out. Because we did one hell of a job today at the sale. So number 14, Emerald Tom was our first purchase. Randy was excited. His dad was excited. I was happy. I like Tom. Nice horse. I was happy with him. Now, number 15, Uncle Danny, the very next horse in the ring, was my number 3 pick when the catalog came out. He was my number 3 pick when we were done with the videos. He was my number 3 pick overall when we were done with the on-site inspections. He was a bronze medalist from day one with me. $25,000 is item marked at 32. Early in the sale, do I really want to spend that kind of money on an Uncle Peter? As it turned out, we bought 5. We almost cleaned out the Uncle Peter section at the supermarket. You know, and it's just personal preference. A lot of people dislike the Uncle Peters. They have done nothing but good for our barn. And the way I put it to somebody, I said it's quite simple. The ones that look like they're bad horses are terrible. The ones that look like they're good usually are. We've always had good luck with Uncle Peters. And Uncle Danny at 25, thank you, put him in the bag. So now we have, we're 2 horses in, 14 and 15, and we are excited. Now, the Summa Cum Laudes, we had a lot of them we liked. Number 4 was our first one. We didn't buy that one. We all agreed that the top pacer for all of us, when you factor in value, talent, body type, just a good-looking horse, we all ranked number 26, highest honors amongst the top. In fact, he was my number 4 pick, number 1 pacer overall. This was a Summa Cum Laude brother to Points North. Good family. Points North, lazy but fast. Multiple winner in 49, I think, 50. Made lots of money. Just a good horse. Carmen had him, then Mark Beckwith bought him, sent him back to Carmen, I think, and he'd raced him. What's that, sweetie? What's wrong?
They're going to keep going.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah, I saw those. It's like a parking lot or something. I don't know. It's weird. Super easy horse to buy. We are all giddy. We're 3 horses in, and we got 3 of the horses we wanted. Everybody's super happy. Now, when I left yesterday, Amy said, "Did you look at number 31, Rose Run Bobby?" I said, "You know what? I didn't. I didn't look at that horse." And she said, "Could you look at her tomorrow before the sale?" I said, "Well, you can come to the sale, but yeah, we'll look at her early. Don't worry." We get to dinner last night, and like number 6 on Randy Hutchinson's list is Rose Run Bobby. I said, "How do I know that name?" Amy. I said, "Amy wants me to look at that filly." He goes, "Anthony, she got hung up on something when she was a baby and she has a little paralysis. That one ear kind of flops. Her lip's a little droopy, but her airway is perfect. It's been checked. There's no other issues with the filly. Her eye, he didn't think her eye blinked on one side properly, but it does. She's got a little paralysis." I said, "Randy, I've been playing with broken toys my whole life. I'll happily buy the filly if she looks nice." I went and looked at her. She's beautiful. Amy was right. Great video. Beautiful filly. What did we pay for it? $21,000?
I think so.
$21,000. We bought Rose Run Bobby. Wasn't on my list. Was one of Amy's top picks. Beautiful video. Well-bred filly. Really, really nice. No complaints. So now again, everybody's pretty pumped. We're talking about pacing fillies. My top pick was 53. That's the one that was out of the sister to Moments Like the Macintosh horse. Moments Like that. Now what the hell's the name? It's not on here anyway. It was number 53. Thankfully, I didn't wait for 53, and we pulled the trigger on 51, because number 53 went for $130,000. Number 51 is a Dancing Yankee. I don't mind Dancing Yankees at all. Are you leaving before me tomorrow?
I was going to say, maybe go behind this thing.
All right.
Or
We got to move those
whatever.
beds.
I'll just move your car. That's fine.
Oh, he can park behind there anyway. He can park over there. So, for those of you paying attention in horse racing this year, an incredible mile from a horse sipping on Sea Rock. 148-2, the fastest 2-year-old to ever step on the racetrack, ever in the history of horse racing. He did it in Lexington 2 weeks ago. He is down by the seaside, right? Yeah, down by the seaside. Going through the ring today is his sister by Dancing Yankee. Beautiful filly, but a Dancing Yankee. Some people don't like them. We like them. I don't have a problem with Dancing Yankee. I like Rosa and AJ. I loved I'm Fancy Like. $33,000 we paid. We paid $33,000 for the sister to Sippin' on Sea Rock. As a broodmare alone, she's worth money. Dancing Yankee's a Yankee Cruiser. Absolutely beautiful filly and a super purchase. Super easy. Thanks, honey. Super easy purchase at $33,000. So now, again, everybody's happy. We're pumped. We're like, we got everything we wanted. Aunt Sarah's coming up. We might be able to get her. I had her marked at 70. I did. It was a bit of a dick move by accident. I'll tell you what happened. So we buy Aunt Sarah. I have no idea why. I can't explain this to any of you. I have no idea why. I had Aunt Sarah as number 2 on my overall list, and I had her marked at $72,000. This could be the only problem I had with Aunt Sarah is if we bought her as our premium horse and then HIP 155 come up. Now what do we do? We had contingencies. We were simply going to buy both and then keep one of them outside the bucket and let people buy them out because both fillies were just too nice not to. Aunt Sarah's a sister to Tennessee Tom. She's an Uncle Peter. I love Uncle Peter. Tennessee Tom obviously is a long Tom. His full sister, not that good this year. I don't know the backstory with the 2-year-old. I have no idea. This was a good-looking filly with a really nice video. I figured she could be our premium horse. We bought her for $15,000. I didn't really know why, to be honest. It's just the way it played out. It was just shocking. I turned around and there was no less than 7 people. Our people and a couple more. I could see people looking at the catalog. I think it was one of those situations where everybody just thought, and I did too. I almost dismissed her a little bit yesterday, and then I talked to Ron Burke. I think people just thought that Ronnie would buy the mare. It was a slam dunk. It was a done deal. Ron Burke, Burke Racing, Weaver Buscemi, and his whole outfit would buy Aunt Sarah. It was a done deal. Didn't work out that way. Now, the breeder of the horse comes over, and he looked a little heartbroken. He said, hey, thanks for buying the filly. My catalog's open. He goes, man, I thought that was a little bit light. I said, well, that's what we were going to go to. He looked down, he goes, oh, well, good luck with her. And I'm like, that's kind of a dick move. After I was just so excited that we got her. I was like, we would have happily went to $70,000 on this filly, and we just got her for $15,000. I was really, really excited. So now everybody's like super pumped, and it dawns on me, I can't put her in the premium bucket. She didn't go for enough. We'll worry about that later. There was a number of horses. Now we're looking for the bricks, right, of our mortar. We're trying to look for pieces of the puzzle. A filly that didn't have a ton of pedigree, but I just loved her video, and I loved her presence, was number 60. This was a creatine filly. Royal Duchess. I liked her a lot. Just looked good. Going in the ring, coming out of the stall, walking down. Just everything about her. I just stopped and looked at her. What a beautiful filly. I had her marked at $19,000, and we bought her for $8,000. Coming in? Come on in. Steve just got home from the sale too. I had her marked at $19,000. We bought her for $8,000. Again, the day just continues to get better and better and better and better and better. The only thing I got to watch now, 2 things. I know at this point I'm coming in under budget, and two, I just don't want to end up with a bunch of horses because I know we have 5 Ohio homebreds. I was planning on buying 10 horses. It's clear that we might go to 11, maybe 12. and everything is coming up roses so far. We waited 69 hips. Now, in that time, I bid on a few horses. We didn't get them. I know that Steve didn't love Megan's Lucky Day. Katie's Lucky Day is the name of the filly, right? Megan's Lucky Day, because she was small, which is fine. I don't care.
That's not why I didn't like her.
Well, you said you didn't like her pedigree as much, but I think when you look into it a little deeper, you're going to change your mind.
No, as a breeder,
You
I don't look at her as a broodmare prospect, although she has a sibling that made $500,000.
It's not just that she made $500,000. She won major stake races all over the world. The day she went in 150 was on Hambo Day and looked as impressive as any filly trotter on the planet on that particular day. So, either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I figure...
My opinion.
Yeah, that's right. I figure... I don't think she should bring 70. She's just a little too small to bring 70. But I think there's a good chance that small, big, no matter the color, that the people that had Katie's Lucky Day, the Luther family, would potentially go in on her. Now, they got bigger fish to fry. They're buying trying to buy them world champions. I'm just trying to buy a good horse. So I'm thinking Katie's Lucky Day should bring 50 to 60. If she does. That's fine. We bought her for 40, which I thought was fair. I wasn't shocked with the number 40. Aunt Sarah was... I was flabbergasted, as many people and many else were in the sales pavilion at that moment. I guarantee the breeder was. But Katie's Lucky Day, not as much. Not as much. I wasn't shocked that she brought... I wasn't shocked that she brought 40. I thought maybe a little less than what I would have happily gone on her. But again, a fair number. So we're rolling right along. Now we get through all the way up to 155, and then the wheels come off. I've derailed for a good 40 minutes. I'm just bitter. And at some point, I just have to tell myself, hey, it's done. It's over. There's nothing you can do. Move on. And I did. We looked at 171 briefly. I didn't love him when I looked at him. I saw his video. I thought he looked okay. But when I saw him in person, man, I thought he looked nice. Then he's walking towards us. Again, I just want to find a few more pieces for the stable. Trotting colts were a little lighter than the fillies at the time. Now, I think at the time we had 5 fillies, 4 colts, or 4-3.
It was close.
We had room for a colt, maybe before a filly. Even though I just lost the other filly. Either would be fine. A colt would be preferable. This guy walks up. I'm like, man, this is a good-looking horse. Top to bottom, I think 8 for 8 in the family. I want to make sure I don't get him mixed up. 8 starters, 8 winners. Susie D, Admiral All-Star, just workers. They're just workhorses. And a gorgeous, gorgeous horse himself. Wait until you see him. You'll see what I'm talking about. We bought him for 28. I think that was probably the top. I wanted him for 25. I was okay with him at 28. Keep in mind, we're well below everything else. I know I'm coming in under budget regardless. That doesn't mean you just give money away. But this horse, I was fine with 28, and we picked him up for 28. Amy loved hip number 189, Supermind. This was another creatine that looked very, very good. Great video. Really, really good looking horse. Pretty light on the pedigree, though. But when you look at the horse, man, what a beautiful horse. I think we hit, 16? Is that right? I think 16.
Yeah.
189 we picked up for $16,000. And again, Amy picked 2 horses out that she liked in the sale. She liked other horses also, but the 2 she told me she liked for sure were 31 and 189. We got them both today. Happy to get Supermind. He was a $16,000 purchase. Again, we're pretty much rounded out for the day. I was bidding on a couple of more horses. If we found any that I thought were really, really good looking, we would pick them up. But for the most part, we're pretty much winding down our day. 206 was my next top pick. Coming in at number 6, but realistically, in the light of day, when she's out there with all the other horses walking up towards us, definitely looked like a filly that could have fit the bill of being what we needed to bill. And obviously a lot of people agreed. I think she went for $100,000, if I'm not mistaken. If 206, really high. I wasn't even close. I don't even know if I got my hand up.
Which one's 206 again?
206 was she's not on here. She's on that list. She's the Hickory Lane Farms one, the gorgeous filly. Looked a lot like 235, but much better pedigree.
Yeah, I think it might have been 90, but it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. Now, I told you guys I like the Marseilles. I like them. I thought they looked nice. Steve and I were talking about this horse. You'd written down he was coarse, right? We were talking about this. All the Marseilles got those bigger, clunkier looking knees. Not bad, but both Marseilles that we had this year were both very good horses that I got high hopes for next year. Both of them had sore knees at 2. So that's something we're going to work on as we start into this horse's 2-year-old workouts, is keeping an eye on it closer on this horse's knees, knowing that maybe this breed has a proclivity to having sore knees. Keep a double close eye on him, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The reason being, he's a gorgeous horse. Now, way back when John Evans and I first met, he had a horse that him and his daughter loved, and I happened to notice this right away. Right there in the top of the second broodmare is Caviar's Triumph. I didn't love Caviar's Triumph. He had a mouth on him like an alligator. He had a parrot mouth.
Yeah.
Couldn't steer him. Yeah. He would pull. But when you let him float off the car and get to the front, he was good. And he had him on a real big roll, and they claimed him off us. And he went back and forth from other people. I think Steve Coulter had him forever after that. And that was that. I didn't mind. But John and Julia always followed this horse. And it just so happened that this big, beautiful, and he is a gigantic, big white blaze. Wait until you see him. You're all going to love him. Had to Know is his name. Another horse that Amy really liked. And I did too. You couldn't watch him walk around outside and say, I don't like him. So I think John or Jim said, geez, he might be too big. I don't think he's too big. A beautiful horse.
He's a gentle giant.
Yeah, big, good-looking bugger.
Yeah.
Wait until you see him. You guys are going to know what I'm talking about. Again, we're winding down the day. Randy Hutchison walks up and he said, Anthony, what about 244? I said, Randy, what about 244? He said 244 was number 2 on his list.
Yeah.
Number 2 on his list. Wasn't on my list, wasn't on your list. Number 2.
I owned his sister.
Yeah, you said that, yeah. Now, a good family, cold certified, magical staff. Every year we look at the yearling out of this mare. This is like this is the 12th foal.
They all race.
And they all race and they all win. Cold certified was a very good horse. I watched him race. It's a 2-year-old and it's a 3-year-old. He was just a good horse the entire time. Magical Steph was the Gary that had cold certified and had Magical Steph. Sorry, Gary. I can't think of his last name. He had both of them and did a great job with them, and were really good horses. Cold certified. Jason Brewer drove it 2 and 3 in Ontario when he lived in Ontario. That's how long ago it was. And a very good family. Nice video. Randy said, Anthony, I really like this filly. She's number 2 on my list. I said, well, we do got a little room. We kept, I think we had $25,000, I think, for Steph's Hope. That's what we bet. So the last horse of the day was Steph's Hope. We bought 12 horses today. Now, obviously, the horse that I didn't get is the one that haunts me for the rest of the evening. Having said that, it's over now and done with. What I need from everybody, and this is more geared, obviously, towards my partners in the buckets. Would you rather wait for Lexington? It's only going to take a couple of people to tip this boat. If everybody says, Anthony, I'd rather wait for Lexington, or if everybody says I would rather put hip number 129 and hip number, what was the other filly? 55. I would rather put those 2 horses in the premier bucket and have a credit. We can work this a number of ways. The way that I worked it out was that we were going to take hip number 189, hip 60, and hip 220 right outside the buckets all together. We were going to give whatever shares of the people that were here that spoke up for the buckets first crack at those 3 horses and list all the other shares of those horses immediately on the stable. That's my plan. In the top bucket, the premier bucket. Now, the premier horse, if you guys want me to go to Kentucky and buy one more Ohio bred, I will. But it has to be unanimous. My top bucket right now, the premier, the top bucket, I have hip number 129, which is Megan's lucky day. I have hip number 14, Randy's first horse. I have hip 171. I have hip number 51, hip 31, and hip 244. In bucket B, Super strong bucket, by the way. Hip number 55, that's Sarah. Hip number 26 and hip number 15. Now that's how I have it shaking down. There'll be a small credit for everybody. $166,000 was spent in the $170,000 bucket. I have $65,000 spent in the $70,000 bucket. I don't have a Premier horse yet. If we go this direction, that's 9. The other remaining 3 horses, hip 60, 189, and 220, would be outside the buckets. There would be shares available of those horses theoretically tomorrow.
Can I have a clarification?
Yeah, on what?
Is it the 166? So is that $16,000 over budget on the top bucket, and your $5,000 under budget on the B bucket?
I may have to change this. You're right. It was 150, not 170, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've made an error. Thank you for sitting down, Steve. If I do it this way, I am actually 16,000 over budget in the top bucket. I'm gonna have to fix all this. It doesn't change the question. I can rejig.
Oh, it doesn't change that question.
I'm glad you said that. It doesn't change the number one question. The number one question I have for all my partners is, would you rather have those 2 fillies in the Premier horse bucket, which is supposed to be 1 horse? And quite frankly, the Sarah filly was going to be the horse. She just simply didn't cost enough. She was a $15,000 purchase.
Yeah, you can't call that dog
Yeah.
a Premier horse.
Yeah, but she was going to be. She was my number 2 pick.
Absolutely.
I was going to 72,000 on her. We just happened to get her for 15. And then to add the Katie's Lucky Day filly, Megan's Lucky Day, I think those are 2 fantastic fillies. But the last time I proposed this, I did get pushback from people saying, it's 2 training bills. I just want 1 really good horse. I would rather not have 2. If that's the case, if even 1 or 2 of you say that, I am perfectly fine with that. We will simply put it on hold. Kentucky's in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
We'll go to Kentucky in 2 weeks. There is 30-plus trotters and 50-plus pacers, and I can assure you there is a Premier horse in Kentucky, if that's what you would rather do. And I'm perfectly fine. I'm glad you said that. I am over budget right now, so the numbers I said are wrong. I could simply just take 1 of these horses out and 4 would be outside, because I'm sure these people would be happy to have 5 in the bucket and not 6.
Right.
Very possible. I'll work this out in the morning. Realistically, none of this matters tonight. This is all theoretical at the moment. My only question to you is, for my partners in the Premier horse bucket, what would you like to do? Whatever that is, I'm perfectly happy to do. So that is where we left it out. I was going to ask you what your number 1 pick was of the day, but there's no possible way that it isn't 55 to get one of our horses that we all agreed could be a Premier horse for $15,000. I'm shocked. I know you're going to say the Pacing filly, and I'm very shocked to hear you say that. Everybody, he loves the Dancing Yankee filly, and you can't not. She is an amazing specimen. Her brother is the fastest animal at 2 ever in North America since we had horse racing. Sipping on Sea Rock.
Is he the fastest? I thought he might have been the second fastest.
No.
Although, does it matter?
Yeah,
I mean,
148 and 2.
fast.
148 and 2 is the fastest recorded mile ever by any 2-year-old ever in horse racing. And this is his younger sister by 1 year. So an amazing pickup in that regard. Yeah. I assume that's your top pick, isn't it?
Who?
The Dancing Yankee filly.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Although Sarah's their neck, it's 1A and 1. It's 1A.
The Sarah
1
filly.
And 1A, sorry.
The Sarah filly is a nice filly, but she was a nice filly at 70. She is an absolutely beautiful filly at 15. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
She was if we'd have got her at 70 and I didn't get 155, I'd be like, oh well, we still got one of the horses we wanted. We still got one of our Premier horses.
I mean, the reason why I would probably lean actually more to the trotting filly is staring at it while chasing you down on the highway.
You weren't chasing me.
I'm like, it's a Dancing Yankee out of a big bad John mare, out of a grin from ear to ear mare, and I'm like,
that's wow. A good point.
Wow. Now the positive thing is that it can be bred to anything. When the time comes,
he's a Yankee Cruiser. Dancing Yankee's a Yankee Cruiser too.
Go anywhere.
Yeah. So I would say my favorite pick, Uncle Danny, is underrated. I loved Uncle Danny from day one. Still do. The highest honor source, Points Norse brother, is a very, very nice colt.
Yeah.
Rosa and Robbie, that was an Amy Randy collaboration. I didn't do a whole lot of diving in her. She is a really nice filly. There's the dancing Yankee.
Well, her story is pretty nice.
Yeah. Aunt Sarah, it's just too easy not to love her a lot. I'm an underdog lover.
For sure.
So I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I'm going to tell you my top pick right now. My top pick that I love just because, just going on horses, I'm the guy that...
You're not going to.
Yes,
you're
I
not
am.
Gonna tell
I
me.
am.
No.
I'm the guy that watches the horse post parade like, look at that horse. That's the horse that calves. Like that horse
Okay, that's fair.
That looks like $1 million. When I watched all the horses walk down, all of them. Now, the dancing Yankee filly looks amazing. Amazing. But the
Her video is
unbelievable.
sick.
The one horse that caught my eye the most was number 60, the cheapest one we bought. She's the one that caught my eye. I watched her and I said, yeah, she'll do. She's a nice filly. I watched her in the walking down towards us. And I was like, Amy, look at this thing. Look at this filly over here. Watched her in the back ring. I went and looked at her confirmation again. I watched her go in the ring. I was going to 19. That was my number. And I only had to get to 8. The cheapest horse we bought all year at this sale. When she came out of the ring, I watched her walk. Out of the ring, I watched her walk all the way back down. I said, what a gorgeous filly. Now,
So
I'm
this
biased.
is my first Ohio sale ever. And
That's right, too.
And it's magnificent.
Yeah.
But what I have noticed is, man, if they don't want you, like, you go on the garbage pit.
Yeah, and this is how I explained it to Steve and Jim and everybody, is that everybody at the Ohio sale has a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And they all want it to be as thin as they can. They all want the best horse in the sale for nothing. But they will not buy the worst horse in the sale for anything. And that is how people are.
Yeah.
The food chain is different. It's the air is super thin at the top. There's 4, 5, 6, 7 brackets the guys that can
Buy those 6-digit horses.
Buy an expensive horse. There's a few guys that can buy one for 50, 60. Everybody can buy one for 30, and no one wants one for 5. And that's how the sales are. So you get a filly like this. Her pedigree's light. She's a creatine, not heavily sought after. I love them, not heavily sought after. She's out of a Royalty for Life mare. First foal from a Royalty for Life mare. The second mare, not that deep. Third dam, not that deep.
Yeah.
Fourth dam, we probably could have fit 15 dams on this page.
Well, it's a page.
Yeah.
Well, this is the one that's loaded with outcross broodmare sires. Every one of them.
Yeah, it's true.
So you're starting right from the top, creatines and outcross,
basically. Yeah.
And then you go, Royalty for Life, he's an outcross. You go to Cadabra,
all she has to do now,
Balanced Image, Briscoe Hanover, and the list goes on and on and on.
All she has to do is go and be a world champion now, and she's fantastic and breed her to anybody.
Anybody. Well, you can bring her to anybody.
I'm going to say, if dollar for dollar, the horse I felt the luckiest to get was, aside from the 15, which was disgusting, was the Dancing Yankee. Now, I know that people are, I don't know, Dancing. You got to race against down by the seasides, and now you got all these good-looking Summa Cum Laudes. You're right. But this filly just has a presence. Just go watch the video.
Okay.
Just go watch the video.
That's true. But for 33, is that the 33?
Yeah.
Now? So for 33, she doesn't have to be a top-end horse.
100%. She just has to be a horse that does okay because she's always worth good money as a broodmare. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, I know.
If he happens to be her brother,
great. Slam dunk. Yeah. Amy's top pick would be Rosa and Robbie. Bobby. Oh, yeah, she loves her. And for the same reason. I don't feel I've given enough credence to Uncle Danny.
Yeah, I don't know how that's not your top horse.
He should be.
Because he just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there and stayed there, and you bought him.
Yeah,
for less.
I love. Second Dam's got one made with $500,000. He's only got one sibling, now 2 in racing by Swan for All. A fantastic video and really nice presence. Just a nice horse. So yeah, listen, it was a good sale top to bottom. It still rubs me a little bit, that 155, even though I know I couldn't have got her.
You don't know.
It still rubs me.
You're going to try and justify it by saying I wouldn't have got her anyway.
Well, by looking at the ticket,
you just don't know.
I can simply just ask the person that bought her.
Yeah,
they can lie.
Yeah, but what's the difference?
Nothing. It changes nothing right now. You're 100% correct. So it is what it is. It's done. The sale's over now. The fact of the matter is, we did everything we wanted to do and more. When I put that top 10 list of mine together, that was top 10 horses, and I told you last night at dinner, it's a nice list, but there's no way we get all these horses, right? We're going to need some and fill the fill our bag up with, our bucket up with bricks with the other ones. We got everything and more. I got my number 2, 3, 4, and 5 pick from my top 10 and filled the rest of our stable up for next year with horses that...
But as good as it was, you still couldn't get everything.
No.
Right?
Couldn't get everything. No.
Couldn't.
No.
So, but you did really better than you would think going in that you could.
I think that's a fair statement, yes. Super happy. And I hope you are too. We had a good day at the sale. I hope you guys had a lot of fun following along. I had a lot of fun being at the sale. And tomorrow...
Except for about 40 minutes.
About 40 minutes. I boiled over. About 40 minutes. Aside from those 40 minutes...
It was almost worth not getting her just to watch.
Oh, aside from those 40 minutes, it was a fantastic day, top to bottom. And a shout out to the racetrack, the people racing tonight too. Did you see the mile that horse went? I know you were talking to somebody. Did you happen to check out?
No.
I'll just tell you what happened. He leaves out. He's 3 wide going in the first turn. He is parked every step of the mile. At the head of the lane, he is going by to win, and the horse on the front drifts out and hooks him halfway down the lane. He's beat a third of a length, and is third place second for getting run into halfway down the lane. He has beat a half a length max in 51 and 4, parked the whole mile out of the 8 hole, and still is going to the winner's circle if he doesn't get hooked halfway down the lane. Horse raced his ass off. Did you watch Drebin race today?
No.
You watched Marching Fourth, though, and he raced great.
Well, rooting interest.
Yeah. A great day at the track. Again, a great day by Jason and all of our caretakers putting on a wonderful performance this summer. It's been a great run, and I'll tell you what, we have 3 major sales: Ohio, Lexington, Harrisburg. You know, Ontario's in there. We have some other stuff that we work on. Those are the 3 big ones. A+ and a big green check mark beside Ohio, for sure, so far to start our sales season. So thank you all for being a part of it. Remember, there is a question here. Don't bother answering it if you're not in the bucket. There's no need of it. For my partners in the Premier bucket, would you rather just go down to Kentucky and get a Premier horse, which I'm happy to do, or would you rather put those 2 fillies in the bucket? Either way, I'm fine. Let me know what you think, and it's not going to be majority rules. If 1 or 2 people say, no, I'd rather go to Kentucky, we're just going to Kentucky, and that's that. So, I will talk to you all soon. I hope you had a wonderful day watching all this unfold and watching the horses race. It was a great day at the stable. Take care.